Before we design AI-powered workflows, we need a shared language. Terms like workflow automation, process visibility, Regrello AI, and responsible AI help business, operations, IT, and workflow teams make clearer decisions together. In this module, we'll build the vocabulary needed to discuss AI workflows with precision. These terms will prepare us to design workflows, route tasks, manage approvals, and handle escalations more effectively. Terminology may sound like a small detail, but in AI-powered workflows, it shapes real decisions. If business, IT, and operations define process, workflow, or task differently, automation can assign work, trigger approvals, or measure risk incorrectly. A shared vocabulary gives everyone the same reference point, making processes easier to document, workflows easier to configure, and AI behavior easier to evaluate. Work can be understood at three levels. A process is the larger business outcome, such as onboarding a supplier. A workflow is the path that makes that outcome happen. Approvals, handoffs, system updates, decisions, and timing. Tasks are the individual units inside that path, like reviewing a tax form or requesting missing information. This distinction matters because automation works best when the model is accurate. In Regrello AI, start by naming the process, then map the workflow, then identify which task should be assigned, automated, or assisted. A workflow is built from reusable parts. Owners create accountability, so every task has someone responsible for the outcome. Dependencies create sequence, making sure work starts only when the right prerequisites are complete. Forms and data inputs turn messy information into structured signals the workflow can use. Approvals, notifications, conditions, and escalations then manage decisions and exceptions. Together, these components answer four practical questions. Who does the work? What information is needed? What must happen next? And what changes the path when something is approved, delayed, rejected, or urgent? Workflow control has three important layers. Dependencies protect order. Task B should not begin until task A is complete. Conditions add judgment. A contract below a threshold can move forward directly, while a higher value contract routes to legal review. Escalations handle time and exceptions. If work sits too long, becomes blocked, or turns urgent, the system notifies the right owner or raises priority. These rules turn a simple task list into a reliable operating process across teams, approvals, and systems. Another way to view a workflow is as a structured conversation. Forms capture the right information up front, so people are not guessing what is needed or chasing missing details. Approvals turn that information into a decision point where a manager, reviewer, or stakeholder can approve, reject, or request changes with a clear record. Notifications keep the process moving by alerting the right people about tasks, updates, deadlines, or exceptions. When these parts work together, the workflow becomes more visible, more accountable, and easier to manage. Automation and AI assistants are related, but they solve different problems. Automation follows rules you define in advance. If a form is submitted, send a reminder, create a task, or route an approval. AI assistance helps when the work requires judgment over messy inputs, such as summarizing notes, classifying requests, predicting risk, or recommending next steps. Strong workflows usually combine both. Automation provides consistency and control. AI adds interpretation and adaptability. The design question is not which one is better, but where each creates the most reliable value. For workflow users, AI is less about building models and more about recognizing useful capabilities. Summarization turns long case notes, emails, or documents into key points. Classification sorts requests by type, priority, or destination. Recommendation suggests next steps, owners, or risks. Natural language interaction lets people ask questions or give instructions in plain language, making automation easier to use. Consider a supplier change request that arrives as a long note with attachments and comment history. Summarization can turn that material into a concise explanation: what changed, why it matters, and what action is needed. Classification adds operational meaning. It might label the request as high priority, compliance review required, or low risk, helping route it to the right team. The key is that AI needs good input, business context, and clear output definitions. And when the result affects approvals, risk, or compliance, a human should still verify it. An AI recommendation is a starting point, not the finish line. Confidence tells you how strongly the system supports its suggestion, but it does not prove the suggestion is correct. A high confidence output may still be wrong if the data is poor, the situation is unusual, or the action carries significant risk. Use confidence together with policy, business context, and potential impact. Low confidence calls for careful review. Medium confidence calls for caution. High confidence may be acceptable when risk is low. The user remains accountable for the final decision. Natural language is powerful because people do not need special syntax to work with AI. But the quality of the answer depends heavily on the quality of the instruction. Summarize this may work, but it leaves the system guessing what matters. A stronger prompt gives context, task, format, constraints, and audience. For example, ask for 5 bullets for an operations manager focused on supplier delay risks and next actions. In enterprise settings, prompting also has boundaries. The AI should only use permitted data, follow policy, and avoid exposing private or restricted information. Human-in-the-loop design means AI can analyze data, generate recommendations, and flag risks, while a person still makes or confirms the decision before the workflow moves forward. This matters in enterprise settings where actions affect customers, suppliers, compliance, cost, safety, or reputation. The human checkpoint is where judgment enters. Approve the suggestion, edit it, or reject it entirely. That may slow full automation slightly, but it prevents blind execution. The goal is not less AI. It is better AI governance, with efficiency, trust, and accountability built into the process. Governance becomes practical when these terms are clear. Accountability means every AI-assisted outcome has an owner, someone responsible for the decision, the workflow result, and any follow-up. Auditability means the organization can reconstruct what happened, including prompts, approvals, data changes, exceptions, and human overrides. Controls are the guardrails that shape behavior, such as permissions, approval steps, thresholds, monitoring, and escalation rules. Together, these concepts make AI workflows trustworthy. They do not slow innovation by default. They create confidence that teams can move faster, because risk, ownership, and evidence are built into the process from the start. You now have the shared vocabulary needed to talk about AI-powered workflows with precision. Workflows combine processes, tasks, owners, dependencies, forms, approvals, notifications, conditions, and escalations. AI's capabilities like summarization, classification, recommendations, natural language interaction, and confidence. Human review keeps outcomes accountable. Next, we'll apply these terms to designing real workflows in Module 2.